Hi, my name is Tomi, and for the last 3 years I've been living here in the beautiful country of Japan. But I have a secret. 日本語上手じゃない。 But I have a plan to change that. I don't know why she said that so weird, because the entire plan is literally to study like crazy and learn Japanese in 1 month. It's gonna be a crazy ride, so if you guys want to be here for the journey, just stay tuned. Let's get into it. Subscribe. Hey homies, and welcome to Tomi's, where you already know it's your girl Tomi, and I am back with another video. So in today's video, I will be doing something that I have said several times on here that I might never do. But sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. So as you guys can tell from the title, in today's video, I will be trying to learn Japanese in 1 month. So I have been living here for the last 3.5 years, and I am still yet to learn Japanese. This is because in my previous place of employment, I was working at a high academic senior high school, and all my Japanese teachers who I worked with had either lived abroad or studied abroad for some period of time, so their English was immaculate. I literally had no reason to learn Japanese. I mean, except if I wanted a social life. But what even is that, and who needs that? Not me. Definitely not me. However, after my recent move, I have been teaching at a junior high school and an elementary school. At my junior high school, the teachers are pretty okay at speaking English. They can understand me, I can understand them, we can plan lessons together, so it's all good. And there's only 3 of them. However, in my elementary school, there are 9 JTEs, and out of all of them, only 1 can speak English. So lesson planning and classes are way more difficult. So I was like,
how can I make this easier for myself?
And my brain came up with an amazing idea. Learn Japanese. No, thank you. Like, I came up with this all on my own. And of course, I couldn't cover this entire month in one video. So today's video will be week 1 of this process, and we will be learning Hiragana. Oops, I almost forgot. Before we actually get into the video, I decided that we are going to be learning Japanese together. So in each video series for this month, I will be teaching you guys a Japanese word and a Japanese phrase. And the word for today's video is kawaii, which is translated to cute in English. And this is my absolute favorite Japanese word, mainly because my kids use it way too much. And I mean, I just kind of picked it up because most of the Japanese that I speak is with my kids, so my Japanese is pretty childlike, but the word is so cute. Everything is kawaii, guys. So yeah, that's the word for today. And our phrase for today is watashi wa Tomi desu. This means my name is Tomi, but you guys can add your own name in there. So you will say watashi wa nani nani desu. Nani nani being the blank space where you're supposed to put your name. So yeah, you guys just learned either a Japanese word or a Japanese phrase or both. Or maybe you already knew this. And if you did, I'm sorry. Hopefully the next one that I teach you guys, you won't already know it. But if you guys learn how to introduce yourself, or if you already know how to introduce yourself in Japanese, go ahead and introduce yourself in the comments below so I can meet all the homies and you guys can meet each other. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into week number 1. So for this entire process, I decided to use the Tofugu website because I think they offer like the best advice for beginner learners, and I will leave a link to the article that I read in the description below so you guys can go and check it out because it really helped me this entire week. And in the Tofugu website, they suggested that we start off with hiragana because it is the foundation of Japanese pronunciation. So once you can master that, you can go ahead to read basic books and so on that will help you to actually learn Japanese. And the good thing about hiragana is that it is not even that hard to learn. So once you learn it, it gives you a little confidence boost and makes you think like, oh, I can read Japanese now. You know what I mean? So it gives you that confidence that you are going to need later on when the Japanese starts to like kick your butt, guys. So I'll basically be telling you guys some of the things that I learned this week that I think would definitely help you on your journey to learn Japanese really quickly and really easily. But first, we are going to go to Tomi on day 1 of this entire journey, and then we'll kick it off from there. Take it away, girl. Hey besties, today is day 1. I have my little notebook and I've started to just learn hiragana. Today I basically studied more than half of the hiraganas. Now I know things like a e I o u, kake kikoku, sa shi si so su. This is gonna be a wild ride. I think this time definitely I have bit off more than I can chew, but I gotta keep the life chaotic, you know? So for day 1, one of the things that I focused on a lot was actually learning the hiragana chart. And I didn't learn everything today. I actually only did a I U E O, which is A-I-U-E-O. And I did the kaz, kaki kuke ko. I also did sashi suseso and tachi suteto. I'm not saying I learned Japanese in one day because I still cannot recall a lot of these, but as I said, it's a journey and this is day 1, baby. But I'm excited to take this journey with you guys, so I'm hoping that you're as excited to do this with me as well. Yeah, so the first thing that I learned this week was the importance of mnemonics. I don't even know why the word is mnemonics when it starts with an M, bro. Like, English is hard, Japanese is hard, languages are hard. But I already committed, so we're gonna do it. So let me tell you guys what mnemonics is for those of you who don't know. Mnemonics is basically a device such as patterns or associations that assist in remembering something. Mnemonics was a big part of this week. It definitely helped me to remember the hiragana letters so much easier because there are so many different letters and I am trying to teach my mind a whole new vocabulary, so my mind cannot really recognize these letters. So I needed to find ways to get my English vocabulary to help me to understand my new Japanese vocabulary, and that is where mnemonics came in handy. So I kind of look something like this, but just looking at it, for me, I don't know what this is, and it just kind of looks like a scribble that a kid did. With mnemonics, you have to look for the capital A inside this letter, then it will help you to remember that this is actually the A sound here. You see that? That's a capital A, kinda. So that is basically what mnemonics is. There were so many times when I was like, oh, what the heck is this? And I had to like pull on mnemonics to remember them. This is especially important because a lot of the hiragana letters look exactly the same. For example, ru and ro, me and nu, wa, ne, and re. So mnemonics definitely came in handy to help me to like remember these letters and the difference between the 2 or 3, because it's literally just the difference with the stroke of a brush. I'm telling you, if you are studying Japanese, you need to get on this mnemonics game. The second thing I learned this week is the importance of repetition, repetition, repetition. Child, let me tell you about it. When I am studying the hiragana letters, as I said, you are teaching your mind a whole new language with a whole new writing system. So my mind cannot like understand what are these things? So in order to get it into my mind, personally, I had to write it down several times so that they could be cemented into my mind, because for some reason, I just could not remember the letters unless I wrote them down. And another area where repetition came in handy was me just listening to the pronunciation of the hiragana letter and studying it again and again and again, because that is the only way that I could actually remember them. So this week I definitely learned the importance of repetition, and if you guys are interested in studying Japanese, you gotta get on that repetition game, baby. I'm telling you. So the third thing I learned this week was that I needed to set a consistent study plan. I am not a study person, and I'm also not a consistent person. It's very hard for me to stay consistent with anything because, like, I'm interested in so many things that once I start off, I'm like,
yeah, I'm so into this.
And then next week, I'm so into something else. Child, that's kind of the summary of my dating life. Anyway, one of the things that I found to be helpful for me to stay consistent is that I already announced to you guys that I would be doing this series. In next month's uploads, I will be doing a series where I am going to try to learn Japanese in 1 month. So if I didn't do it, then I wouldn't be a person who kept my word, and I refuse to be that person. But I think one of the things that truly helped me to stay consistent was actually going to school every day and not being able to, like, understand my fellow co-workers. So whenever that happened, I would go ahead and study. But I'm figuring that probably you guys are not all teachers who are working in Japan. So I think a good way to stay consistent, or something that I used to do in university, is just to set a reminder on your phone to remind you that you need to go and study. I had to squeeze in my study times anywhere I could get them. Sometimes that would mean that I would be studying while eating lunch, just studying at my desk, studying on the bus, studying on the train. Wherever I could squeeze in my study time, I did. But I tried to make sure that I did at least 30 minutes a day, because the more frequently you introduce your mind to this new thing that you're trying to learn, the more you will remember it. And that's where we're trying to get to. So be consistent. It's easier said than done, but I promise it's gonna help you so much, bro. The fourth thing that I learned this week was the importance of applying the new knowledge that you have learned regularly. And this was pretty easy for me because I live in Japan. So whenever I went outside, I would get the opportunity to read random stuff on bus windows, read the train signs, random stuff on doors, shops, anything that I could read. I would try my best to just sound out the hiragana letters. And after a while, I realized that this application of the new knowledge that I was learning was actually really helping me to remember the letters, because now my mind could understand that we needed to learn these things so that we could remember them for future use. So it's not just something that I will never use again, like math. But yeah, just being able to apply the new knowledge that I learned was super helpful in helping me to really remember what I was studying. I would definitely suggest that if you don't live in Japan and you don't have access to, like, just random shops and bus windows that have Japanese, to just try to print out random Japanese papers. If you're just studying hiragana, I would suggest printing out stuff that are for children and just trying to remember the letters, and don't cheat yourself, because that will not help you at all. Actually, that brings us to the next point, the skill of recall. Being able to recall something is so important. I didn't even realize how amazing that skill was until this week's journey. Now, being able to recall really helped me out this week, because I realized that when you force your mind to recall something, it kind of tells your mind that this is something that you really want to know and something that you really need to remember. So it always stores that information in the back of your mind. So I would be sitting down and looking at a hiragana letter for like 2 to 3 minutes, just trying to recall it. And even though it would be so much easier for me to just look at something and be like, oh, that's what it is, that doesn't help your mind at all. And I learned that the hard way, because when you just give yourself the correct answer, it's like you didn't really learn anything. Your mind's like, okay, so she can just find this anytime she needs it. She doesn't really need to think about it, so I don't need to store this information. So when I sat down and tried my best to recall it, it was just so much better for remembering. It's such a simple thing, but it changed the game. So I would definitely suggest forcing your mind to recall the information that you studied, because it definitely tells your brain,
yo, we need to know this information. Please keep it up there.
Okay? And the very last thing that I learned this week was don't put too much pressure on yourself and go at your own pace. It was very important for me this week to remind myself that this was just me studying. I could go at my own pace, take things as slow or as quickly as I wanted to. And I just thought I would share that with you guys, because I think that it could be very important for you guys as well to just remember to not put too much pressure on yourself. Go as slowly as it takes you. Some people say they learned hiragana in a day. Some people say it took them 2 weeks. I think it took me a week, but I still don't know all the letters, not gonna lie. The wa and the ra are like kicking my butt, okay? But yeah, we're just supposed to be enjoying this journey. So you're learning a whole new language. It's not gonna be easy. You're trying to tell your very English mind that this is a letter and you need to remember it. Cut yourself some slack, babe. Okay guys, so that is it for this week's installment of Trying to Learn Japanese in a Month. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because every interaction that you make with this video will definitely help our little channel to grow. And if you enjoyed this video, or if you learned anything at all, or if you have any questions, go ahead and leave those in the comments below, because I really love chatting with you guys. So when you leave your comments, I get a chance to see what I should be doing better, what I need to explain more in the next series, and stuff like that. Okay guys, see you next time. Bye guys. Mwah.